Gideon refuses to fight. The story that was never told. What if Gideon had refused to lead his people into war? Imagine the nation on the brink of chaos, and a hero who never rose to the occasion. Stay with me, because this refusal doesn't just change a battle. It alters destinies, faith, and the future of an entire nation. In the end, you'll wonder, would courage survive? Or would defeat be inevitable? Gideon, God's chosen one, walks alone through the valley, feeling the weight of a responsibility no one else could bear. The distant sound of enemy tents echoes like a silent warning, but he hesitates. Every step that could lead him to the forefront of the battle is interrupted by doubt and fear. What if a hero refused to rise when his people needed him most? The tension mounts, and the fate of Israel hangs in the balance, ready to unravel in a way no one ever imagined. One decision, one moment of hesitation, capable of changing the history and faith of an entire nation. Israel is living through a period of silent oppression, hidden among hills and valleys. The Midianites plunder villages, taking supplies, livestock, and hope, while the people take refuge in caves and remote fields. Daily life is marked by fear and distrust, but a sense of unity and faith still exists, small flames of resistance that remain lit. The world seems on the brink of collapse, but with a social structure that still sustains hope. Each family, each village, each local leader lives in the shadow of threat, without imagining that a single choice could change everything. The divine call comes to Gideon with force and clarity, asking him to lead Israel against the Midianites. But he hesitates, insecure and fearful, refusing to accept the mission. This moment becomes the turning point. The people's hope rests on a man who does not move forward. Without Gideon taking command, strategic plans never materialize, and the course of war and faith is profoundly altered. A simple act of refusal changes the history of Israel, leaving neighboring nations, enemies, and allies in an unstable equilibrium, ready to crumble under the weight of indecision. Without Gideon's leadership, the Midianites intensify their attacks, plundering villages and spreading fear even more rapidly. Villages that had once remained united begin to panic. Internal conflicts arise and chaos infiltrates daily decisions. Local leaders try to organize resistance, but without a divinely chosen commander, their plans fail. Each passing day strengthens the enemy and diminishes the morale of the people, showing that the hesitation of a single man can trigger an immediate and devastating reaction upon the entire community. Gideon feels the weight of his refusal like a stone in his chest, each night marked by insomnia and silent guilt. He watches helplessly as his family and neighbors suffer, knowing that his hesitation contributes to the surrounding chaos. Ordinary citizens live in constant fear, their small decisions fraught with anxiety and uncertainty. Some leaders begin to question their own courage, while others try to fill the void left by Gideon, often in misguided ways. Each character feels the direct impact of the choice not made, and personal destiny intertwines with that of the entire nation. The villages of Israel fall into disarray, with desperate citizens trying to protect their families and resources. Mutual trust weakens, and local leaders fight for control, lacking clear direction. Markets, fields, and villages show signs of abandonment and fear, while rumors about the strength of the Midianites spread, intensifying anxiety. Without Gideon's leadership, small communities that once supported each other begin to fragment, creating an environment of uncertainty and constant tension, where every daily decision carries unexpected consequences. If this interpretation is making you rethink this story, leave a comment below with your perspective. These videos are meant to provoke reflection, and I read all the comments. And if this type of content interests you, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next ones. Gideon's hesitation reverberates throughout the region. Neighboring tribes observe Israel's weakness, and some allies begin to doubt the nation's strength. The Midianites take advantage of the lack of leadership to expand their attacks, plundering territories and intimidating nearby cities. Local rulers try to react, but without cohesion and divine guidance, their actions are fragmented and ineffective. Instability spreads, and political and military decisions that could protect the nation now fuel rivalries and conflicts. leaving Israel vulnerable to devastating consequences. Without Gideon leading, the memory of Israel's resistance transforms into a legend of failure and hesitation. Subsequent generations grow up knowing the story of a nation that was nearly subjugated by its own indecision. Neighboring kingdoms reinforce their influence over Israel's territories, shaping future alliances and wars. Sacred texts and oral traditions carry a cautionary narrative. Denied courage can cost lives and entire destinies. The impact reverberates centuries later, redefining faith, morals, and the balance of power in the region in a lasting and profound way. Gideon's refusal casts doubt on divine intervention and trust in God's plan. Priests and religious leaders face crises of faith, questioning whether obedience is truly necessary, or whether divine will can be ignored without consequence. The people begin to interpret signs in fragmented ways, and morality comes to depend more on human initiative than on divine guidance. This inaction sets a dangerous precedent. And if the chosen ones fail, to what extent does faith remain intact? Without Gideon's leadership, Israel develops local cultures focused on individual survival and territorial defense, rather than unity and collective strategy. Military technologies and tactics emerge haphazardly, prioritizing immediate protection over efficiency or advancement. Art, festivities, and traditions reflect fear and distrust, while cooperation and ethical values take a back seat. Every innovation is shaped by the instinct for survival, creating a more practical, yet fragmented and hardened society. The sun rises over the valleys of Israel, illuminating villages surrounded by hills and tranquil rivers, contrasting sharply with the impending chaos. Soldiers and citizens move hurriedly between fields and markets, fear etched on their faces. Meanwhile, Gideon walks alone, his expression reflecting doubt and inner conflict. Scenes of Midianite invasions, looted villages, and leaders discussing failed strategies are interspersed with abandoned plans and constant vigilance. Each frame conveys tension, uncertainty, and the weight of a nation on the brink of collapse. The story of Gideon profoundly reveals that courage and obedience are not merely individual virtues, but forces capable of shaping an entire community. Every decision made or avoided by a leader has effects that extend far beyond their own destiny. When Gideon refuses to fight, he not only denies his role as a chosen hero, but also leaves a vacuum that affects entire villages, families, leaders, and even the future of an entire nation. Hesitating in the face of a clear calling is not just a personal act of doubt or fear. It is a gesture that resonates in the lives of all who depend on their actions, altering plans, shaping behaviors, and transforming opportunities into risks. The impact of inaction becomes evident in every daily gesture, in every minor decision, showing that the absence of leadership can be as powerful as any enemy attack. The lesson is clear and non-negotiable. Taking responsibility, even when frightening or risky, is essential to protect, guide, and transform lives. Every act of courage has the power to inspire, unite, and redirect the course of history, while inaction can cost far more than we imagine, leaving legacies of regret, fear, and missed opportunities. This narrative invites us to reflect on our own roles and choices in life, remembering that the impact of our actions or lack thereof goes far beyond what we can see in a single moment. And now, as Israel faces the growing threat of the Midianites, the question remains, how would the nation's fate have changed if Gideon had never fought? Stay tuned, because in the next video we will explore the fallout from choices not made and the domino effect that can alter all of history. Prepare to discover consequences that no one could ever have predicted and lessons that resonate to this day. If you enjoyed this approach and want to continue exploring stories that are almost never told this way, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And now, click on the video that's appearing on the screen. It directly complements what you just watched and may completely change the way you see this story.